to think that just by partaking in the calendar year transitioning that things are going to change is pretty fucking laughable to me. What is going on? It is January 1st, which means New Year's Day. I am here with my coffee. Love you, coffee. And it's 6:15 p.m. So I'm excited. It's New Year's and it's nice. It's a nice reset. Today when I woke up, it was the least magical and least fresh feeling I've ever felt on New Year's. And I'm thinking it's because every Monday feels like New Year's to me. Like it does super feel like a new world, a new quote unquote experience. I was gonna say new me, but then I realized how cringe that is, and also how I've been shitting on people all day that say new year, new me, and that is actually the topic I want to talk about today. So, with my coffee in hand, I would like to discuss the fact that wherever you go, there you are. So let me let that sink in for a second as I sip away. And by that, I mean this calendar change. People expect themselves to follow through and become this completely new person just by December 31st turning to January 1st. That is ludicrous. Like, why the fuck do people think they're going to absolutely change overnight like that? You require habits. You require beliefs. Specifically those two things I think of the most in terms of if you actually want to make a foundational change to who you are, your world, etc. Energy, that's a massive part about things as well. There's just like a million things that are controllable. Your actions, your thoughts. These things make up who we ultimately show up as in the world. So to think that just by partaking in the calendar year transitioning that things are going to change is pretty fucking laughable to me. It is good that some people do take an opportunity to properly reset, properly reflect, and properly goal set, but there are still some challenging things there. Like, first of all, it would be more ideal if you started way before January 1st and not held yourself to this ridiculous measurement of like perfection throughout all of the year. I think it's so silly. So if you are going to set a New Year's resolution, I would suggest, number one, making it specific, making it measurable, and measuring action and measuring like process on a day-to-day. But so maybe, I don't know, I just have this visual right now of like someone saying, I want to drink less alcohol. Well, less alcohol isn't really a measurement. It's not specific. And it's kind of like, it is subjective. It's not a very objective, data-driven goal. And it's hard to, number one, stay motivated with achieving that, because it's like, it's not a number, so it's hard to achieve because you can constantly redefine the rules with that. And by the way, redefining the rules is awesome so long as you're making progress with things. And with an objective like drinking less, that is it's not probably going to happen. The odds are so slim. They're shooting themselves in the foot right out the gate. But I'm going way off track. I had some rough guideline here, but anyways, I just wanted to quickly talk about like if you're going to set a New Year's resolution. So the ideal maybe would be, I like what Kevin Rose is doing, who is the founder of dig.com, which I think is since been sold, but he's a legend in the tech world. I love him. He's awesome. And he's got a podcast, Kevin Rose Show, and all types of sort of stuff. He's a very successful investor and has worked with like Google Ventures and stuff. Anyways, this is beside the point. What he's doing though is really smart with his New Year's resolutions. He's keeping everything very specific, very measurable. And like I saw on his data chart that he had 4 days where he wanted to have per week that he didn't drink. And I think he had like X amount of drinks per week or something like that. Like that is a way of tracking And by the way, X amount of drinks per week, meaning like I think he said a limit of, let's just say 10. I don't remember the exact number, but limit of 10 drinks per week with 4 days that had no drinks or something like that. That is a much more specific goal. And that is so likely to be achieved, number one, because he has the discipline to do so. Number two, he's tracking it. And I think those two things are massively crucial when following through on resolutions. So for me, not a big resolutions guy. Okay, so first of all, before I dive into that, I just want to talk about like how so many people are going to break their agreements with these resolutions, like because they are not setting themselves up to win. They're not making it in the things I just said, like the measurable, specific. They do not have the habit of doing it, so it's likely to be broken. What else can I say? Like, they're going to crumble under pressure. They're going to get, let's just go back to the drinking thing again. They're going to get offered to go out, and ultimately they will crumble if they do not have the discipline. Because, yeah, it's all fun and games right now, and it's all exciting, and it's like, fuck yeah, new year, fuck yeah, change, fuck yeah, new year, new me. But as soon as that's over, it's so much harder to push through those times. But the reality is, it's where the rubber meets the road. Like, some of the greatest things that I've done so far in my life have come from when I did not feel like doing them. I knew in my core and in my heart I should do them, but I did not feel like doing them up here. Like, it took a lot of energy that I didn't want to exert, as I think a good way of putting it. And I was probably focused on the wrong things at the time, because that can happen. You can get focused on the wrong things, and you don't want to do a task, but you know in your heart you should. And that's a good time to ignore the thoughts up here and or change the thoughts. That's also another option. Change the picture in your brain, change the looping of the phrases or the words that are going on in your brain, and then make it easier on yourself, and then take the action regardless of how you feel, or regardless of how, if you feel like doing the action or not. And when I say feel, it's a very fine line. I'm not talking about like gut feeling. I'm talking about like, oh, do I feel like recording a podcast right now? No. Or do I feel like working out right now? No. Like stuff like that. But then if you know you should in your core, do that shit. So what else was I gonna say here? Do it anyway. It's fucking crucial. I reminded of my Instagram post a year ago on my story, and just like looking at how, first of all, how much I've changed in my communication style. I think I've gotten a lot better and much more comfortable on camera and talking to this imaginary person and persons. But I feel like I don't even know, what do? Do I kind of I feel like I might talk to like a few people, but I don't think about like a crowd when I'm on camera, generally speaking. Because if I do, I'd probably start to freak out. And ideally, I am just talking to one person. So, at a time. Anyways, so as for me for 2019, I'm excited for the year. It's going to be a good year. And as per usual, I'm not thinking about it in so much as a yearly thing. It's kind of just more like, let's focus on the day-to-day right now. For quote-unquote resolutions, I have, for the second year in a row, said no resolutions. And that might actually be 3 years in a row. But usually I'll set like some yearly goals. I was having a lot of resistance around yearly goals this year. And my observation so far is that the resistance has come because this timeline of like a year, it feels very egotistical to me. I'm like, how the fuck do I know if I should be done in a year or be done in 10 days? Granted, you could think about the year as just like a quote unquote limit and just try to achieve it in 10 days or as close as possible to 10 days if you think it might take 10 days. But I don't know, this whole like year thing, it just, I can't really wrap my head around why it's such a good thing for people. What I like that Gary does instead is he defines the macro vision, the grand picture, if you will, all of the long-term goals wrapped into one. And it's not like it might be a shit ton. I guess it kind of is, but it's also intentions. It's what he ultimately wants to happen. Like, so there's material, there is impact, there is relationship. Like, it's all wrapped up into him. It's how long he can live to make sure all this occurs. It's how many Super Bowls he wants to achieve with the Jets when he buys them, ultimately buying the Jets, all these type of things. And it's all wrapped up. So that's like, quote unquote, your vision, if you will, your macro vision. And also, I need to do a better job of thinking about my vision consistently. I actually asked Gary this on comments and a Q&A, and he responded to me. And I asked him, how long or how frequently throughout the day do you think about your macro vision? And he said, every second. I thought that was so crucial, and something probably we do not think about enough as people who are not at Gary's level. I don't think we are thinking of our vision enough, because if we were, we would probably achieve it if we are aligned with it. And or you might just not have a big enough vision. Anyways, that's a bunch of fucking side topics that I could go down another rabbit hole with, but I've been enjoying intentions instead. Defining not things that'll happen in this year, but things that will happen in the grand scheme. Aspects of my vision, and getting more clear on that. I do have resistance around certain things though, especially things like money and material stuff. After listening to so much of Gary's stuff, I'm like so processed out and focused on impact and the work and business and the game, quote unquote, that like I actually am having struggles focusing on material stuff right now, which is really funny because I also subconsciously know it's not going to bring me like any happiness. I just know the journey is the ultimate thing. However, I am having resistance around certain outcomes that even are non-material or in nature. So I'm just paying attention to it all. I will do work on what isn't working and at an energetic level and fix that. Also fix my beliefs around it and address those things, because if I can't, or if I don't do that, if I don't address it at an energetic / subconscious level, or if I don't address the conscious side of the fence with the beliefs and stuff like that, then it will never occur. So that is something that I absolutely need to make time for, because it's fucking crucial to say the least. But yeah, not hardcore goal setting this year, but I am planning on crystallizing this vision on a day-to-day basis, getting clear, revisiting it, using things like lists to make sure I am constantly revisiting it, keeping it top of mind. That is something I fucked up with so bad in 2018 and previously. So yeah, I'm excited for things. Just going to go one day at a time, and like, yeah, I just want to get to work. I'm excited. I'm feeling ready for things. I also share that I have a goal on the podcast to hit 200 podcasts by the end of the year. So we'll see how I do with that. I'm not sure if I'm going to achieve it. 3 podcasts is a decent amount. So, but I'm open to making it happen, putting in the work. And so far, this is my first podcast of 2018 that I'm recording. But yeah, I'm gonna probably record another one right after this about wine or alcohol rather. And I have a lot of things I want to talk about. And I mean, things like gems when they get launched, that's going to work. Reflections, obviously on a weekly basis. I want to start things like expansion, me talking about a quote or a concept and just expanding on it. I want to document more. Potentially start micro vlogs. That's not going to work as a podcast unless I extract some of the audio or whatever. But yeah, I have a shit ton of ideas. It's very doable that I could get 200. We did a podcast, Brian and I, but we have to record it because his audio failed. So restarting that podcast, then if I choose to have other guests on, if I choose to go out that way type of thing. So there's a bunch of there's just a shit ton of ideas that I have. And I think 200 is very doable if I keep myself consistent and not pay attention to if I feel like editing or what have you, because that was usually a holdback. It's like, oh, I want to code or blah, 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 I want to do something else. I don't want to edit right now. I don't feel like editing. And that is why I'm so behind on content right now. It's always up to me. So that's my goal for that. yeah, I want to know what your goals are. I want to hear how I can help, if I can help at all, with achieving whatever you want to achieve in 2018 and beyond, whether you are doing New Year's resolutions. If sorry for shitting on them if you are, it's just my personal opinion. Hopefully you do make that happen. It's just that's a very low percent rate if you are doing them incorrectly. Hopefully you are doing them correctly. Anyways, so if you want to do a New Year's resolution or a 2018 goal or just something beyond, let me know how I can help. I would love to help if I can be of service. So anyways, that is enough for now. I am going to start on this alcohol podcast, and yeah, I appreciate you watching and listening. I hope you have a kick-ass 2019, and let's get the fuck to work. My name is Josh Moxey, and I will catch you later.